Happy Friday to you all. December 6th here. Welcome to ATI ProMedia live at 9. We're powered by Advanced Trading. Markets are finishing up the week here. Had a little optimism yesterday. I was excited about where these grain markets might be finding some footing, but here out of the gate this morning, a little uninspiring. Maybe later in the day we'll catch a bid here, but let's roll through your markets and then we'll dive into headlines. Gonna jump over to the Huck Ranch and enjoy a beautiful sunrise here out here in western Kansas. Watch the cows come in. But start into your week here. March corn, a penny and a half higher at 437. Soybeans down 4.5 at 989. Looking over at your wheats, KC wheats down a penny or two at 550 on the March contract, trying to hold on that 550 level. Chicago wheat 555 down 3.25. Feeder cattle are bouncing back up $1.40 to $1.10. Live cattle up 47 to 50 points. Hogs are a little weaker, a little red on the screen, down 20 to 40 points on the hog market. Over your energy markets, crude's down 90 cents, diesel's down 2, nat gas down 2 to 3 as well here. So stock markets, they're pushing a little higher as well. Looking at Wall Street, stock market S&P up 17.5. The Dow up 34 points, the NASDAQ up $1.40. Bitcoin hanging on to 100,000, up 370. Been a volatile week on Bitcoin. I've got a special guest today. I can't wait to bring him in. It's been a long time since I've seen my friend. Bring my friend into the show, Connor B. Welcome. Welcome back.
Wow, great to have me on. Thank you, long-time listener. But yeah, Brady, it's been a crazy week at the Bridgman household. It's been a crazy 10 days. I've been a little checked out, right? Been dealing with some family issues. So thanks for you guys picking up the slack and all that. But I got to tell you, okay, and I want you to recap this week as quick as you can for anyone watching and for myself, because when I look at these markets and I look at corn, March corn 437, March beans 995, next year 1003 or 1005, no 1003. What the heck happened this week? It doesn't feel like I missed anything, Brady. Am I wrong?
I think it was a good week to deal with other things, and certainly glad that got the family stuff going stronger, and everybody's good there to have you back here. But yeah, from a market standpoint, I don't know. It feels like grains kind of want to find a bottom here, but I don't know. Just a whole lot of nothing going on. Kind of that pre-holiday, post-holiday, nothing happening. The cattle market's been wild. But South America's kind of weather's non-threatening. We've seen some back and forth with the 45Z headline. That's been something.
Right. They weren't going to announce it, and then that same day I saw that, oh no, we are maybe going to have something. So it's the same song and dance, right?
Yeah. So there's times of year where nothing's really happening, and it feels like these articles they're reaching for them, right? We're trying to find something to talk about. They've got one on the back burner that let's run that one this week. You can finally have that piece that it just fits. There's nothing else happening, but
right. Yeah. So, yeah, it definitely. I mean, it's a lot of potential, right? That 45Z is a very, maybe it's not moving the markets, but any type, how that plays out in the next 6 months to a year, that one's going to be huge. But again, just bouncing around, very range bound market, right? But whenever I say that, when I hear myself say the words range bound or low volatility, right? Doesn't mean to be complacent. We've seen it before where we get lulled to sleep with certain markets, and so that's what when I hear range bound, that's what I want to say in my head is don't get complacent, Connor. Right? Be disciplined. Don't get sloppy. Think of that. So it is the time of year, right? We've got big crop USDA report next week. It kind of feels like it's a low news day, and you said it best for some of these headlines. It feels like maybe they're reaching a little bit.
Yep. Well, we got 2 comments. I want to pop those babies up real. It rolls right into our next headline there. I don't know if Rick, if you can pull that. I need some positive news comments from Mr. North Dakota boy here. I like that. We got some positive news for you on the feeder. Trump was elected president. Thank you, Nathan Rose. There's some positive news for you. Good stuff. But where I was going with it was feeder cattle. And this cattle market has just been on fire. We've got the feeder cattle index. The latest print on that climbed above 260, Connor. Just climbing higher. Good to see. I'm going to flash up that data each week. Each day we get the latest feeder cattle index data, and the daily totals. I've highlighted that there. The daily total for Wednesday was 261.68 and pulled that index up 61 cents. Strong cash out there on the feeder cattle front, really helping this market out. A lot of talk about risk management, and I'm a fan of protecting these prices. But I did the cow guy close yesterday, and I was my comment there was not ready to throw the bull flag in yet and get all bearish. I think there still could be another push, and things that excite me are just the resilience of the consumer demand, Connor. And here's a graphic that I wanted to share with people. This looks at wages versus inflation, and since January 23, the growth in wages has actually outpaced the inflation rate, according to this data, if you believe it. And I'm a little skeptical. I'm sure there's others out there that are a little skeptical as well of it. But if this is true, maybe the consumer is more resilient than we think. Connor, there was a day when Coca-Cola's cost you a quarter at the vending machine. Now that it costs you $2-3 to get the same Coke. So you got to get adjusted to these prices just kind of climbing and higher as we get older. And is this a new paradigm on feeder cattle? I got one more graphic to show you as I keep on my rant here and on my soapbox. But
no, let's go.
Steiner Consulting, they put out a graphic that adjusted the feeder cattle index with inflation. And so we look back at that 2014-15 timeframe, and it certainly feels like there's still some room above on this index that this market could climb. So there's your positive news. That's the spin I'm going to throw at you, that this market can continue to climb higher. But at the end of the day, too, I'm a risk manager and I want to protect our floor. So I got to proceed with caution. Getting too
absolutely bold. The wages versus inflation, that chart, honestly, it almost spurns more questions for me than answers, right? Like that surprises me, and I want to see, right, like what defines a wage, right? Mm-hmm. How are we factoring that? But very interesting, right? Seems it's different than what you hear when you see charts like that.
Yeah. And it's probably, not everybody's a winner across the American household, right? There's some classes that have seen that growth and other classes that haven't. And which class is the class that's buying beef products, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Interesting stuff.
Hey, let's keep, you know what? If they want for good news, guess what? We're going to give the people what they want. We're going to give good news for maybe the American farmer, not so much for Russia, Ukraine, but we're seeing a lot of headlines, Brady, about just that crop health and the Russian wheat crop significantly behind, right? We saw this rally, what was that, 6-7 months ago this summer, is that Russia crop was in dire need. Turns out it happened to be okay, and we saw wheat prices reflect that, where we saw a pretty good drop, right? But we're seeing the same headlines again, so hopefully we can maybe find a bottom in wheat, right? So with that, this year, over 37% of winter crops are in poor condition or have not sprouted, compared with only 4% last year. So significantly worse in that Russia-Ukraine area.
Okay. That's big if true. Huge if true, I'd say. That Black Sea market covers up a lot of the export demand and really just limits the U.S. potential to gain any export business. So any bushel they're not producing or pumping out the door is a bushel gain for some other provider. And we gotta fill that void somewhere. The market gets really nervous, and when we get short wheat, I think wheat's a staple commodity out there. It's the easiest crop to grow across the world. But when we get short, when we have production problems on wheat, the market gets really nervous. It could be could be a tide that lifts all boats, right? Rising tides lift all boats. And maybe wheat is that rising tide that helps spur on the corn market too.
Good stuff. I like it. Let's keep being positive, right? Because when we go back to Russia, Ukraine, right, 2021, it wasn't necessarily, it wasn't production issues at all, right? We saw the war escalation. And so let's say if we see some production issues, and then, time will tell, right? We feel very numb to any type of war headlines in terms of commodity markets anymore. But, if we see escalation there too, right, that's the unknown going into 2025, right? We're going to see. We got a lot of unknowns, right? We got Russia, Ukraine. What the heck are we going to see for renewables? Are we going to see anything, right? We talk about that a lot this time last year, right? I especially was a big cheerleader. I thought we were really going to see something much more positive than we have seen. And so now, I mean, I guess, they said they were going to release it, then they said they weren't. I predict we're going to see something like they released back in, was that in March or April, where we got some rhetoric, but it was a kicking the can down the road, and I just don't see any big move from this administration as they go out. I hope I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm. I could see the same type of thing happening, or maybe something just a disappointing type new, like, that doesn't really give us what we want or what we need or what we were anticipating. It doesn't really change the game either. So that agree. Yep.
Yeah. So I think the one commodity we should be talking about is coffee, Brady. I saw a headline. Did you know coffee's at like 50-year highs currently? Right. We had production issues in Brazil. We're seeing production issues in was it Vietnam? I think a lot of coffee, but 50-year highs. Very surprising to me to read that.
Yeah, I had no idea. I don't watch coffee markets every day. The only thing I do with my coffee is make sure I have enough in the drawer to make my cup, that I have a couple cups. But now I'm going to appreciate every sip a little more because I know it's a high value commodity.
There you go. There you go. Well, hey, you were on Cow Guy with Tommy, right? I saw we flashed that up, but good stuff. You guys went over, right, this import restrictions on Mexico cattle. Give us a quick recap.
Yep, talked a little cattle market, Mexican cattle imports, just kind of an overall review there. If you want that episode, that content, let us know. We'll get it to you and become a premium subscriber. We also had the other two segments that Tommy did on Cow Guy, as well as pumped out as premium content, and those were both good stuff as well. So, yep. Yeah. I think Tommy's got another one loaded up here today to send out to guys. I think he's already got it knocked out and done and ready to send out. So.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Want to run the premium commercial and talk about what guys get with premium content here real quick?
Yeah, heck
Welcome to ATI Pro Media, powered by Advanced Trading. We're a financial channel that loves agriculture. For just $1 a day, you'll receive advanced trading research, actionable text, and a minimum of 6 videos a week featuring industry experts and insight. Click the button below to subscribe today.
Well, we certainly appreciate all our premium subscribers, all our current customers. If you're interested in ATI Pro Media Premium, send us an email. Go to the Advanced Trading website. You can sign up today. $1 a day. Great deal. Good content. Actionable text, too. And we talked about that video in May. Timely videos and timely recommendations, they mean a lot to a guy because we get busy out in the field. Farmers wear lots of hats. So getting a message of, hey, are you looking at cattle? Hey, are you looking at hogs? Are you looking at wheat? When you're out, shoveling crap in the stalls, you need to know, hey, I got a guy that's helping me watch these markets and be actionable on a day when I need to do it. So those are the type of things I think you get with premium that are also important too.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, with that, we got a few comments, questions. Let's start popping them up here. First of all, Mr. North Dakota boy, hope we gave you some positive news, right? I don't know if it was probably quite the optimism you were looking for, but we got some. So here we go. Luke, November was a big month for HPAI and poultry with almost 7 million birds affected, mostly West Coast states, but there are some flocks in the Dakotas and other Midwest states as well. What do you think?
It's that time of year where you see lots of migratory birds moving around. Geese are moving around all over here. The ducks are moving. So got to keep. And then we see, I think different states have different testing stuff going on. I'm not a HPAI expert, but it's definitely something worth keeping our eye on in the protein sector, in the meat sector, maybe even the milk sector as well. So, yeah.
Here we go. More good news. Thank you, Tony. Lean hogs continue to be on fire as well. Funds are long and lots of opportunities for hog producers. Finally, good to see there. We'll take it, right?
Yep. This goes back to that actionable type of pay attention to me, look at me type of deal in the meats. I think with hogs and cattle, guys got to be looking at those opportunities I talk the bullish points on cattle, and I don't want to give the wrong impression that I'm a permabull by any means, but I was, you got to dig for the optimistic points to talk about, but manage risk in hogs and cattle, both good opportunities.
Yeah, here we go. What has been the current pricing for fertilizer inputs been doing? Ooh, good question, Rush. Probably a little bit out of our wheelhouse, right? I keep an eye on fertilizer inputs as it relates to break even, but as far as tracking like the macros, I'm not doing it every day. But I haven't seen correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen a whole lot of movement. We have been seeing, we finally got an opportunity to put some gas in this past week, 2 weeks, right? We were very wet post-harvest. The temperature, finally dropped. Now I'm feel like I can complain a little bit. It's dropped significantly. It is frigid here. But as far as inputs, I think the overall story, right, is that they haven't dropped as much as we want, right? When we see the commodity price do this, we know that historically inputs follow, albeit a little slower, but they haven't really been following at all, right? We're still kind of hit with that $4 corn, and inputs still feel like we're trading at $5.50 corn to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think my message with inputs is if you're buying those inputs and locking them in, you need to be going out and looking at the output side of things and doing some risk management on the product you're going to produce with those inputs. Because as soon as you lock that price in, your margin is kind of determined on what you need to get out to manage that margin.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Here we go, Luke. You all need to keep the cold weather in the Midwest. It's putting a hurt on us getting the cotton, and cleaning the picker's moisture pads with freezing water in your hands is no fun. Freezing water in North Carolina, Luke, I didn't know that was a thing.
North Carolina. Yeah, good stuff. Cool. We got any more comments there? Or we've wrapped up on some of the comments. I love the engagement. I love you guys talking to us and posting those comments, questions. If you got any more, if you got things you want to hear from a premium content standpoint, send us those. We want to deliver what you guys want. So tell us what you want. We think we have an idea of what we want to put out, but it's always good to know what you actually want.
18 degrees in North Carolina. Wow.
I watch these, YouTube, different channels with YouTube people talking like our show. And Connor, you got your coat on over there. I'm in my t-shirt. I guess I got the heater cranked up a little high in my my office here, but it's interesting to watch those and see people dress differently throughout the seasons, and seeing lots of hoodies on these live streams now.
Absolutely. So
interesting. Well, before we go, one thing I wanted to say on cattle, one last bit, is CME price limits on feeder cattle. Connor, any idea what the daily limit on feeder cattle would be?
I don't even want to guess.
Has
it changed in the past year?
It's higher than most people think. I don't think it's changed in a while, which is probably why it's higher than most people think. $9.25, 9.25 a hundredweight is the limit on feeder cattle. So up or down $9. Then the expanded limit is 12.25. So in 2 days, we could be $21 higher or lower if we capped out on those limits. Significant moves that we could see in those markets.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, with that, I mean, any closing thoughts? Right, we're going to be paying attention to the USDA report next week. See what headlines. See this. We're going to be paying attention. It seems like right now my conversations have been, I'm trying to talk about the 25 crop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And right now at this time, we can look at the price action a little bit more than we would say September or August, September, when we've got to make some decisions if we haven't already. Now, let's look at the price action, look where we want to put some targets in, and start having that conversation. So we'll keep an eye on the price action, USDA report. We'll see any headlines, and we'll see what next week brings.
Sounds good to me, Connor. Well, let's get out of here, get back to our day jobs. It's good to have you back. Good to see you back. We'll be back next week. Make sure you join us Monday. Thanks for joining us.
Everyone have a good weekend.